Hello everyone, it is the Canadian Futures Trader here, and I thought I would put together another little informational video. This one is about TopStep Trader and the differences between their pro account and their funded account. So, quick bit of background. Basically, once you pass step 1 and step 2, you are then given the option, and this is unique with TopStep. The other various companies don't really have this exact type of setup. You can enter a pro account or you can enter a funded account. Think of the pro account as kind of an intermediary step to a funded account. You will eventually end up in a funded account ultimately, but there's some pros and cons. So basically, let's just go through it. I'll just give you the quick rundown without going through this, and then we can go through it. I will say up front, most people choose the pro account, but I belong to the TopStep Trader Facebook group. I don't participate in it, quite honestly, but I just kind of look once in a while to see what questions people are asking. And this is one that I probably see once a week, somebody saying, hey guys, I just passed step 2. Should I choose the pro account or the funded account? And pretty much, usually most people go with the pro account. The pro account basically is a SIM account, whereas the funded account is an actual funded account. The pro account, once you make your first 5,000, you are automatically moved into a funded account, and that 5,000 you keep it. It moves into the funded account. It says right here, so we can go through the pros and cons. There is actually one con on here that I didn't even know, so I'm kind of glad I read this. It's making me think twice a little bit. So let's say you passed step 2, and I did. So I actually went into a pro account before, and I managed to blow it in 2 days. But that's a story for another day. You start trading within 1 to 2 days, versus if you go into a funded account, it takes 7 to 10 business days. I've read recently it's a little bit faster, but I would say this is the norm, and it's not necessarily unique to TopStep. It just has to do with the funding partners. I know when I set up my own actual just like accounts, if you will, with Tradeovate and with Ninja Trade Brokerage, it took about a week and a half or 2 weeks to set those up. Just they go through the process and documentation and all that stuff. So pro account, you can start trading. It says 1 to 2 business days. The one time I went through it, it was the next business day. So you get the email, you select pro account, and I was up and trading the next day. Another pro is no exchange data fees, whereas when you go into the funded, you pay $105 per month. I don't consider this like a huge advantage. Yes, it's an advantage, but to me, $105, like relative to what I'm personally hoping to make in a funded account, is relatively small. So yes, it's a pro, but it's not like a deal breaker either way. Platform fees, this is also not a deal breaker for me. It's no additional platform fees in the pro account. If you're in the funded account, you have to purchase your whatever software you use. Now, if when you initially started out with TopStep, you chose their TopStep Trader platform, which is basically Tradeovate's platform, it is still free, and that's the one that I chose. So I'm not going to have to pay platform fees regardless. And yeah, so this doesn't affect me. But if you break a rule in the pro account, you return. Now this they sell as a pro, and it is a pro of the pro account, but there's a catch, and that's the catch that I didn't know about. If you break a rule and you're in the pro account, you return to step 2 of the combine. If you just go into the funded account, you return to step 1. Basically, you don't even necessarily return to step 1, just basically lose your account, and it's up to you if you want to sign up and go with TopStep again. Same thing here. You don't, of course, have to do step 2 again, but you can choose to pay the monthly fee and start with step 2. It basically saves you 5 days. Now, a few things to keep in mind. Again, I mentioned it before. And it's all written out on this page, guys, but I don't want to read through every single thing. As soon as you make 5,000 in the pro account, you will be moved into the funded account. It really is meant to be kind of this intermediary transition where you're still trading sim. It's like the step 2. It's all the same rules as step 2, but it becomes real money once you move to the funded account. Once you go to the funded account, you're just in the funded account, and it takes a little bit longer to set up. So that's all well and good. The one thing I did not know, and I'm glad I read this, it is somewhere here, and I'm going to find it. Okay, this is what's important. If you break any rule in the pro account, your account will be closed, and you will have the option to return to step 2, which we just mentioned, which is a pro at the cost of a normal subscription. If you break a rule and have positive simulated profits, and you're in the pro account, those profits are a forfeit and you're ineligible for funding. That's very important. So let's say you pass step 2, you go to the pro account, you make your first $4,000, you haven't transitioned yet to the pure funded account, and you break a rule. You enter too many contracts. That's one I'm guilty of. You lose that $4,000 that you made. Versus if you were in an actual just straight up funded account, if you break a rule, you get to be paid out whatever you've made. So if you break a rule, whatever your account balance is, you will be paid out in the funded account. It doesn't necessarily say that here. This article is more just about the pro account, but that's been confirmed several times by TopStep Trader. Um, so that is a catch because again, now nobody's planning on breaking a rule, of course, and I should mention as well, when you're in the pro account, when you get to 5,000 in profit, you're automatically rolled into the funded account. As well, at any point, you can be asked to be rolled into the funded account. So let's say you were up 3,000 and you just said, you know what, I want to move into the funded account now. You could do that. And it wouldn't be a bad idea, I guess. I mean, it just depends on your personal choice. So all that said, the one case I can make for a funded account as well, because it takes 1 to 2 weeks, I could easily see somebody doing this if they, like, say they're going on vacation or it was the holidays. Like the holidays would have been a perfect time to do this because, the trading, you're already short on trading days. Trading wasn't as great over the holidays, etc. But I could see why people make a case for just going right to the funded account. Sure, like to me personally, these pros aren't as exciting as I think maybe they are for other people. Like they sound good on the first read, but then when I really think about it, I'm like, okay, so you return to step 2 instead of step 1. You're really just saving yourself 5 days. Like I don't consider step 1 to be that difficult, quite honest. So, I mean, that's not a big deal. The $100, I mean, yes, that's nice, but I'm hoping $100 isn't a big deal in the big scheme of things. The no platform fee thing doesn't apply to me. So really it comes down to this, but factor into that one little rule. I would be pretty annoyed if I was up 4 grand, break one of their little rules, and whammo, like you made 4,000, but now you lose it because you're in the pro account and not the funded account. So I'm actually honestly giving consideration to the funded account for when I pass. But nonetheless, that's my personal situation. I just kind of wanted to highlight that stuff for you guys. Like I said, most people do go in the pro accounts, and I get why. It was seriously just that one rule and I honestly had no idea. I very much assumed that if you're in the pro account and broke a rule, say, and you would at least get paid out your funding, and you don't. And it kind of makes sense. You're still in the simulated. And it kind of, to me, is another kind of way of like giving you one more chance at failing before they have to pay you money. Like that's honestly really how I kind of see it. And I don't love it. I mean, I think already most people are kind of like, you've got the 2-step thing already. Nobody else does that. And now you're basically adding in a 3rd step. Like, I don't know. So I'm going to sleep on this one for sure. I have a few days before I would pass anyway, so I have time to make this decision. Or maybe, like I said, I do something like go into the pro account, play it very gingerly, make sure I don't break a rule, and if I got a few grand up, just say, you know what, roll me into the funded account now. I don't want to risk losing this money because I break one of your little rules. And I do believe once you're in the funded account, now this is something I'd actually like to verify, you can, I believe, it's more like a real account where you can actually set parameters, like don't let me trade more than 3 contracts, 5 contracts, whatever it might be. I'm not 100% sure on that either. So guys, that is it. I'm going to cut this video off here. If you have any more questions about this, I mean, you can leave a comment below. I'll do my best to answer. You can look up the facts. Just search for, pro account facts. They have their facts are actually pretty good. Like it's all on here. Or join their Facebook group. Their Facebook group is pretty useful, quite honestly. And Michael Patak, the founder of TopStep, he's on there sometimes, not every day, and he's not answering every question or every post, but you do see him active in there quite a bit, and other employees. There's at least 2 other employees from TopStep that are pretty active in there, like answering questions. So it is a good resource. Just search for TopStep.